The President, Nigerian Association of South Central Pennsylvania, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. When I was first nominated to deliver this keynote address, I was concerned that time constraints may preclude me from doing justice to it. But I later concluded that failure to rise to the occasion would be tantamount to abdication of an important social responsibility. So here I am today, and I appreciate the confidence reposed in me by those whose insistence informed my standing before you today. My speech is captioned, "To make Nigeria better, be the change you desire for her." Some of you are aware that I write commentaries about Nigeria on NigeriaWorld.com. The commentaries are sometimes critical of government policies and actions. But in all these writings, I never lose sight of the fact that every one of us has a role to play in making Nigeria a better nation, not just the government. My challenge to you tonight is to be the change you desire for Nigeria. Every one of us, whether in this room or outside, is endowed by the Almighty with talent and intellect. Yours may be manifesting in your profession, your hobby, your daily activities, or may even be dormant inside you waiting to be let loose. You can apply some of the talents towards the betterment of this 52-year-old country that is yearning for our attention. In this room tonight, we have medical doctors of Nigerian descent, nurses, pharmacists, and other health workers. There are many more all over the United States. First of all, thanks for the great work you do here of saving lives, helping to bring forth new ones, and taking care of the elderly. But do you know that you can extend your great services to Nigeria? There is a humongous information gap between what the average Nigerian knows medically and what they should truly know. That information gap is causing a lot of medical havoc over there. Take diabetes, for example. People who have the disease here in the United States live long lives because of knowledge about testing, eating right, and exercising. But in Nigeria, people still die, lose their limbs or eyesight because of diabetic retinopathy and neuropathy. You can help change this. If you are wondering how you can do that, let me give you a hint. You do not have to discover a new drug or find a cure. In fact, you do not have to do anything novel. Just spend a few days during your visit to Nigeria to participate in a community health education program. There, talk to local folks about wellness, diseases, signs, symptoms, eating right, and exercising. If people know how to manage what ails them, they have a better chance of survival. Or you can go on medical missions to Nigeria with your fellow professionals to treat and educate patients. Some medical missions have revealed diseases that the locals did not realize they had: breast cancers, heart diseases, liver cirrhosis, cervical cancers, asthma, and the like. Helping the locals detect the diseases, especially at the early stages, could make a difference. Nigerians here sometimes solicit medical equipment and donate them to hospitals in Nigeria. You can do that too. I just read that a group of Nigerians in the diaspora are pulling resources together to build a state-of-the-art hospital in Nigeria. All I can say is, ain't nothing wrong with that. Now check this out. In July of 2010, I was in Atlanta for the reunion of alumni of the University of Nigeria. I left the school 3 decades ago. I'm obviously getting old, as my kids will often remind me. Nonetheless, present at the Atlanta gathering were alumni and current and former vice chancellors. There were many presentations, but the common theme was that standard of education was taking a rapid nosedive in Nigerian schools. Think about this. If Nigeria produces half-baked graduates, How can the nation advance? How can invention-based development occur? Recall that 20 or more years ago, the standard of education in Nigeria was touted as exceedingly high. But now, that academic prowess is fast dwindling to vanishing points. This is where the teachers and college professors we have in this room tonight, as well as other parts of the diaspora, come in. There is a clarion call for your talent and intellect in Nigeria. First of all, thank you for all the great work you do in society of imparting intellect, confidence, molding characters and shaping destinies. By spending your sabbatical time in one of the schools in Nigeria, imparting the same academic words of wisdom you do here, you can help arrest this backward slide in standard of education, one school at a time. You can share ideas, academic curriculum, and research findings with students and teachers over there. You can even help facilitate visits by Nigerian teachers to this country to exchange ideas on the most effective ways to impart education. Many schools in Nigeria lack needed books, laboratory equipment, and research materials. You could help in the drive to gather these items for shipment to schools in Nigeria. Now on to civil engineers, of which I'm one. Civil engineers help plan, design, and build bridges, roads, box culverts, dams, buildings, and other ancillaries. Again, kudos for the great work you do here. Do you realize, though, that you too can extend your experience to Nigeria? Your contribution could be as simple as helping to organize and execute small community projects. These could include construction of culverts and roadside gutters and helping to fix potholes when you visit. Furthermore, there are always new developments in the field of civil engineering in the areas of technology, materials, and the likes. You can help share or transmit the new developments to Nigeria. You may say there are Nigerians paid to do such work. Frankly, that's not a good excuse to do nothing. There is room for everyone to contribute towards the development of Nigeria. And how about the environment? I know that we have environmental engineers in this room tonight. You are an indispensable part of every society, ensuring clean air, clean environment and water. Air pollution alone is responsible for many respiratory and pulmonary diseases in Nigeria, asthma, COPD, and even lung cancers. These diseases rob our kith and kin of long and productive lives. Do you think Nigeria needs you or your expertise? You betcha. Just visit Lagos or Bayelsa State and you will see why your contribution, no matter how small, will make a great difference. Enough said on this issue. Most of you have had calls at one time or another while in Nigeria to shout up NEPA, or more recently up PHCN. It happens when NEPA returns electricity to your home after a prolonged blackout. Because of constant blackouts, too many Nigerian homes depend on generators. But you are aware of the havoc these generators have been causing when placed too close to living quarters. The fumes or carbon monoxide have been known to wipe out entire families. We should begin to fight the electricity war from many more fronts other than just using generators or waiting for the government to build new power plants. We can harness alternative energy sources like solar and wind energy to augment what we currently have. Do you know that you can generate 2,000 watts of electricity just by installing a solar panel of 2 kW on the roof of your house in Nigeria? 2,000 watts of electricity can power several ceiling fans and light bulbs. The less the amount of electricity needed from the main grid, the less the energy burden on Nigeria's power grid. Electricity conservation should be of paramount consideration in building designs. Buildings should be designed with ample windows for natural lighting and ventilation. This reduces the need for electrical bulbs and air conditioning that deplete electricity. This is a challenge that our architects, mechanical engineers, and electrical engineers should take up. Although I've designed more than 20 buildings built in Nigeria when the green building revolution had not started or was in infancy. These days, in line with what I'm preaching tonight, I push for buildings that conserve electricity through functional design. I also push for low energy light bulbs and fixtures and advocate solar panels and wind turbines for lighting and running small appliances. Although geothermal energy is seen as untenable in hot climates like Nigeria, researchers have not given up. All in all, if these alternative energy measures catch on, it will help reduce excessive dependence on the central power grid and minimize erratic power supply. By now, the business professionals in the room are wondering when Alfred will pick on them. Well, here we go. Unemployment rate is very high in Nigeria as everywhere else. Most of our graduates march directly into the unemployment line. But some in this room are business professionals that have helped companies develop business plans that propel them to the top. You have advised individuals on business startup strategies that help them succeed. You can do the same for young Nigerian graduates when you visit. Set up forums to educate them on how to write business plans, source funds from banks, neighbors, and friends and relatives. With that knowledge, some of them may become employers themselves. You may be saying that they already have people doing this, but in a nation of more than 160 million, there are never enough mentors to guide the young and the restless. My friends, are you prepared to step up to the plate and lend a helping hand? Then there is a science and technology angle. No nation can make appreciable strides in development without a fully developed science and technology sector. Many Nigerians have come up with inventions and discoveries that fizzled because of lack of support. A 24-year-old undergraduate in Nigeria just built a helicopter out of an old car and bike parts. Right now, everyone is praising him and talking about his feat. But mark my word, soon, the whole excitement will fizzle because no one will sponsor him to greater heights. This happens time and time again, but it does not have to be that way. If you have connections or leads in the science and technology field to support these sharp minds, please help them to achieve their dreams. And yes, you can always speak up constructively or write about something that is not working well in Nigeria. As they say in Latin, malum triumphus cum viri, boni deficiat agere. Evil triumphs when good men, or good women of course, fail to act or speak up. For 11 years as a commentator on NigeriaWorld.com under a column called Uzokwe Searchlight, I've written commentaries on Nigeria's socio-economic and political situation. My writings now total 2 volumes of 600 pages each. These commentaries are read globally by thousands and attract hundreds of emails per week to my inbox. For those who tell me I don't go out enough, now you know what I do with my time, responding to emails. Just kidding. On a more serious note, in my commentaries, I point out what I see as wrong and then proffer solutions. I call that constructive criticism. I've written about general causes of building failures in Nigeria and proffered solutions. I've written about road failures and remedial actions. I've argued convincingly based on structural deficiency and functional obsolescence why a new bridge is needed in Onitsha. In fact, that article has been copied and repeated many times in Nigerian newspapers. This is a social responsibility that anyone can take up. You can do exactly the same if you love writing. But hold on for a second. Am I asking you to do something that no one else is doing in Nigeria? Certainly not. There are Nigerians that engender positive changes in the country day in, day out. As a result of their enterprising spirit, there have been stunning developments in so many different sectors. Now let's take a look at some of the positive changes occasioned by the hard work of these forward-looking Nigerians over the years. I visited Nigeria not too long ago and stopped by Teju Osho and Balogun markets in Lagos. Believe it or not, folks, I was at Teju Osho market to look for onubu, bitter leaf. Nonetheless, I was pleasantly surprised at what greeted my eyes at the market. Proliferation of cell phones. Almost everyone carrying a cell phone, chatting away and making brisk businesses. Some of the folks own as many as 3 cell phones with 3 different network operators. If communication goes bad with one carrier, they will switch to the other phone immediately. In secondary school dormitories, students move about with internet-capable phones, browsing the internet and posting messages on their Facebook. I think you get the picture. These developments were unheard of as recently as in the 90s. In 1985, there was an average of 1 phone line per 440 Nigerians. But what informed this major improvement in the telecom industry? It certainly was not accidental. Simply put, in the 90s, the government realized that the monopoly enjoyed by Nitel, the sole operator at the time, was setting Nigeria back. It deregulated the sector and investors jumped at the opportunity to provide better and affordable had been licensed to operate in the country. But Nigeria had very little telecom infrastructure on the we see today. The benefits of cell phone proliferation in Nigeria cannot be overstated. For starters, cell phone is relatively cheap in the country. The industry provides thousands of employment opportunities for Nigerians. Even the charge card phone accessories sellers are not doing too bad. Many sustain huge families with the profits they make from their trade. Some business and banking transactions are now done with cell phones, no more driving up and down. This saves transportation costs and minimizes road accidents. In medical emergencies, cell phone is a lifesaver. The same in security emergencies like robberies and so on. Communication with family members and friends, even in distant lands, has improved markedly. Those of you who came here 15 or more years ago may remember how difficult it was to reach family members in Nigeria from here by phone. Now I can call up my relatives anywhere in the village and chat. A small step taken in the 90s by some enterprising Nigerians has become a giant leap for all. One of the citizens that contributed to the success of the telecom industry in Nigeria is Chief Michael Adenyoga. He's the founder of Globacom. I chose to highlight him because, just like you and I, he studied here in the United States and sometimes did menial jobs like you and I. But back in Nigeria, in spite of the obstacles he faced, he founded Globacom, and the rest is history. He's now one of the richest men in Black Africa. Globacom is Nigeria's second largest national telecom operator with about 25 million subscribers. Let's be clear, Adenuga did not invent cell phone technology, but he helped revolutionize the industry in Nigeria and so became the change he desired for the nation. Now on to information technology. In the late 80s, desktop computers began to make inroads into many African nations, including Nigeria. Recognizing the indispensability of computers and the need to make the technology part of everyday life, Nigeria formally introduced computer education into the secondary education curriculum in 1987. This increased market demand for computers and hence importation. But Nigeria's environment posed a series of challenges for the imported computers. First, the erratic power supply and fluctuating voltage tended to fry the computers. Second, the hot and humid climate resulted in frequent overheating and breakdowns. Third, the imported computers lacked important local symbols like the Naira sign on the keyboard. And fourth, the computers were priced out of the reach and range of average Nigerians. One of the men that decided to tackle these issues was Mr. Leo Stan's internationally certified computer system. Xerox computers are equipped with voltage stabilizers, Naira symbol on the keyboard, and thunder arrestor. Most of all, they are relatively affordable. Affordable computers mean that many schools, banks, businesses, and individuals can own computers. It also puts the IT technology at the fingertips of our young men and women, making them globally competitive. In 2005, Xerox received the ISO 9001 Quality and Management Certification. It is the largest partner of Intel and Microsoft in sub-Saharan Africa. The company now has more than 20 offices across West Africa. Mr. Eke has left his footsteps in the sands of times. Whenever the history of Nigeria's development is chronicled, I doubt that he will be left out. Let's segue into transportation sector. With a population of more than 160 million, there is no shortage of demand for vehicles in Nigeria. At costs of over 2 million naira, new vehicles are out of the reach and range of the average Nigerian. No wonder why the importation of cheaper but used vehicles is the order of the day. The problem is that most of the used vehicles referred to as tokumbo easily break down due to prolonged prior use. Some pollute the environment because of defective catalytic converters, while some Nigerians were busy flooding the country with tokumbo vehicles. One man had the dream of building a car manufacturing plant for the production of new vehicles. He wanted to build vehicles capable of withstanding the environment. In October 2010, Nigerian foreign dignitaries, including Nigeria's president, declared open the factory Mr. Innocent Chukwuma built for manufacture of new vehicles. His company, Innocent Motors, became the first indigenous private company that manufactures and assembles vehicles in Nigeria. They manufacture 17 and 43-seater buses, double cabin pickup vans, sports utility vehicles, and garbage compactors. Some state governments are already taking delivery of hundreds of the vehicles. They use the garbage compactors to clean the roads. And the vehicles have a reputation for low fuel consumption, lower pollution, and ability to drive well on Nigerian roads. The company provides employment for an estimated 1,600 people. So what started as a small vision by one man now has a gigantically salutary effect on a whole nation and West Africa. Some Nigerians that will never have dreamt of affording a new vehicle may now be within striking distance, like teachers, small businessmen and women, civil servants, and more. Mr. Chukwuma has become the initiator of the change he wants for Nigeria. And then there is Nollywood. How many people here watch Nigerian-made movies? I watch and enjoy them. Nollywood is to Nigeria what Hollywood is to United States. For many years, Nigerians yearned for made-in-Nigeria movies showcasing local actors. Some Nigerians on a menial budget set out to write, produce, and shoot movies locally. At first, many derided their products as inferior, but they persevered. Today, Nollywood is a 200 million a year employment for Nigerians and so on. Nigeria's name has been elevated in many countries because of Nollywood. Go to Ghana, Trinidad, Jamaica, South Africa. Nollywood movies reign supreme. Nollywood is now the world's third largest producer of feature films. Enough said, folks. My friends, I hope you now see that I'm not asking you to do something that nobody else has done. I therefore hope I have spurred you to action tonight. Thomas Edison once said, if we did all the things we are capable of, we will literally astound ourselves. Surprise yourselves by becoming or initiating the change you desire for Nigeria. For history buffs, recall that after the Battle of Zela, Julius Caesar declared, Veni, vidi, vici, I came, I saw, and conquered. That was Julius Caesar, though. For you and me, our own mantra should be Veni, vidi, differentia, Nigeria. I came and saw and made a difference in Nigeria. God bless Nigeria, and God bless the United States of America.